Game over. It is game over.
Game over, cancer.
I'm Val Solomon, Director of Program Impact at Cannonball Kids Cancer Foundation.
And I'm Dana Nichols, Executive Director of CKC.
Game Over, Cancer, a podcast dedicated to exploring conversations about pediatric cancer research, solutions, and inspiring family stories.
We're a nonprofit dedicated to creating innovative treatment options for kids fighting cancer and educating for change.
By creating a space for these conversations, we empower the community to take action and provide tangible hope.
Game over, cancer. Screw you, cancer. Well, today's episode is all about finding your spot and running with it.
Literally and figuratively.
Yes, we love a pun. This is a person who really hit the ground running, another pun, when she came into us with the Disney marathon weekend. She chose to do a bib. It was her first time fundraising, and it has opened so many doors for her, brought her closer with her community. It's really, really fun to hear about how finding a spot that worked for her within CKC really opened up so many new things in her life.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the most eye-opening part was in the process of preparing for her podcast appearance was learning all the different ways. I thought she was connected through Ripple and her business. And then sort of on the back end, realized that you had been had been working with her for Run Disney. And I was just like, man, she is so ingrained. I don't even know where all the things she's doing for us. This is amazing.
Yes.
It's really cool.
When you hear from her, you'll hear all of that passion, all of that fire, and all of that just has percolated into a lot of good for her and her family, and also for Cannonball and our mission. Hannah Hunt is the founder of Socks and Such, a community-driven brand offering affordable, one-of-a-kind clothing and custom pieces designed for everyday life. In addition to running her business, she works as a preschool teacher and a fitness instructor and personal trainer in Orlando. Recently, she partnered with CKC to be part of our first Run Disney team for Marathon Weekend. So we are so excited to welcome Hannah Hunt.
Yay! Thank you for being here today. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, we love when we get to tell stories about people who just jump wholeheartedly in on things, and that's you. In a nutshell.
I was like, we're diving in. Yeah. And then I'm like, I'm not looking back. We're just going forward.
Yeah.
See what happens.
How did you get to Cannonball? What's your perception of how you got here to this
How do you
table?
think this is going?
It's going phenomenal. We just wrapped up the race and it was amazing.
Yes.
But last year around this time, we had gotten a bib from you guys from the Disney race. And I thought, how can I raise money without asking for money? And then I was like, I have a huge community with Flock Fitness where I work out. And I was like, I'll make socks with flamingos on them and I'll sell them. And then I'll give a portion back to CKC. Well, that organically rolled into something else, and toddler socks, shirts, tumblers. And now we've just full-fledged the market. And we do... we're a vendor at the Maitland Farmers Market, and it's just kind of led to where we are today. And it's just been great.
Awesome.
It's been a lot of fun, too.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I want to go back a little bit because I was like, so we sold some socks. We did.
Yeah.
But there was a part where you were very nervous about your fundraising goals.
Yeah.
And so I love that we get to tell it from we made our goals. Everything was so good.
Yes.
But there was a part where you were like, eek, this is more than I thought it would be. I'm really nervous. I'm excited, but this is scary.
Very scary.
Yeah. Do you want to talk through that a little bit about, just jumping into fundraising is hard.
It was.
For this.
It was my first time fundraising, and I've seen people fundraise before, and I know some people have corporate donations or deep pockets or family with money, and I'm like really basic middle American Hannah. I'm a mom of 2 kids, and I'm like, what if I don't make the money that we need to make, and then it's coming out of our card, So that was definitely nervous. I remember I texted you, I think, and you call me, you're like, listen, is it about training for the race or is it about the fundraising? I was like, well, the race I'll figure out. It's about the fundraising.
Yeah.
And you gave the best advice. You're like, you're doing everything right. You're already ahead of the game. I think this was like June.
Mhm.
So we had so much more time. But like, as you were saying, like I dive in and I'm like, all right, we're going to be the best at it. We're going to raise the money. And then you have the competition because you see all the other people raising the money and you're like, oh, well, I'm not in second anymore. I got to get more, you know. But like, I felt like every time a door shut, like something else opened. And I was like, this is exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it was like and then I raised, Socks and Such raised more.
Yeah.
We went past
You
the
went
goal.
over your goal.
And then once it was done and the fundraising was over, I was like, where we go? Do we continue with the mission? And I was like, yes, because like our mission statement is like making a difference in every step. And I was like, we will continue to get back to CKC where we can. And you made that so easy because I was like, I'm not a corporation. I don't have deep pockets, like I said, but like you were like, listen, give what you can. It does not matter. And that's when I was like, all right, this is okay. This is good.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we're going to continue to do that with or without a race or a bib attached to it because it's important. It's important to my whole family now. Like everybody in my family knows about it.
I think that's awesome.
Yes.
And we talk about that a lot. That like, where does it fit for you?
Yes.
What are you doing?
Yes.
How do you show up in your community? In this case, whether that be Flock Fitness or now like Maitland.
Yes.
How do you show up and be you and do what you're doing and what feels comfortable? Because there's someone out there who's like, I cannot make socks.
I know.
And that's cool. That's not for them. That's your thing. And I think that when we, like anything, when we put ourselves next to, oh, well, they're doing it this way. Am I supposed to do it that way?
Correct.
It doesn't fit. And then we go, okay, how am I doing this right for me?
Correct.
It starts to flow.
Yes. And like, what does that look like in your daily schedule?
Yeah.
You know, like Instagram and Facebook are amazing, but they also can be like a little overwhelming because you're constantly comparing. And it's like, but what does your life, what does your schedule look like day to day? And like, how does that fit? And then once you just find something, it just kind of organically happened. Did I ever think I would be here today helping raise money for pediatric cancer and making socks and being at a vendor at Maitland Market? No. Like none of that popped in my mind, but here we are and like we're happy and we're thriving. And this is like, my husband always says like, you're right where you're supposed to be. And I authentically like believe in that.
I love
I
that.
think it's really interesting the passion that you can unlock when you're open like that, right? And I when you described fundraising perfectly. I don't know if you know this, but you said when one door closes, like when you get one no, or when something doesn't work out, you just shift gears and you just keep going and do something else, right? It is a resiliency game more than anything else. And I think you talked about being a little bit discouraged or just being like, oh, what's going to happen? It's not going how I thought it would, because I think the main like worry that someone has the first time going into fundraising might be either like, what if I hear no? They might be afraid of hearing no, or like, what if it doesn't turn out right?
It's scary.
And so it's new and I don't exactly know how to get there and it feels a little bit impossible. And I think just a little bit of encouragement is just being like, actually, like there's so much time.
Yes.
There's so many like parts of the year where we have a fundraising plan. Like as fundraising professionals, we have a plan.
You do.
And it's, we know 75% of that's right on target, but there's a little bit you just have to go through the year and see how it rolls out, you know?
And to that, you realize that people want to give back and you don't know until you know.
Right.
And it's like, I was always raised, like you don't ask for money, like you figure your own stuff out, but it's like when you're putting it on to something that as great as the foundation you guys have laid, it's like, people have donated even above and beyond. I'm like, oh my gosh, they gave that much? But like they want to. It's not like I never want to be a bother. I never want to be a nagging, person. But it's like when you open that door, you can tell most people want to give back and they want to see you hit that goal. I had a girlfriend of mine, she's like, let me know when you get to the very end because I want to see you hit that goal. And if you're like $100 or $200 away, I will finish it up. And I thought that is just so kind and so generous.
Yeah.
But it's people want to, they don't know until they know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you think about making the ask of, oh gosh, I'm asking such a huge thing of other people. But if you shift your mindset to, I'm giving them an opportunity to get as excited as I am about this, then maybe it's a little bit less scary.
Yeah.
And it's something that you see the opportunity you're bringing to them as just that, an opportunity. You see that as a way for them to get engaged and for them to feel good about something too.
Yeah.
And then that's when you're talking about like all of a sudden, like we looked around and we had surpassed the goal.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I didn't realize that many people needed this too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so interesting because a lot of what you're talking about is like how great it has been for you. And you've done a really great thing. Like we are so grateful for what you've done for us, but it sounds like you've gotten so much out of fundraising with us. Do you want to
tell
talk
us a little bit about
Oh
that.
my gosh. I don't even know where to begin. It's like when we started with socks and such, I had a couple of photos pop up because it's coming around that time again. And it was like starting so bare and basic. And then I learned how to get an LLC. Never done that before. I never thought I'd be a small business owner. And then like learning how to build a website, learning how to email professionally to these different vendors to try to get into their markets to spread the word about Socks and Such and CKC and how we do give back. And it was like learning, tripping over myself, but like this constant flow of like perseverance. And also I have 2 daughters, like to show them like you can push boundaries and that's okay. And it's okay to show up and be authentically yourself, because I'll tell you, I'm not like high end. I don't know a lot about fashion, but like I'm a mom and I know what works for me and my family. And I also know like I want cute, comfortable, and I get to give back to like, I think that's a win-win. So it's like just learning and evolving, and the fundraising and teaching my girls like giving back to the community. I mean, they have CKC swag. They are all about it. And my husband, and it's like we're at the market now every Sunday or every other Sunday. And it's like just being there. And like it's brought us all together as a family too.
Very cool.
It is. It's important. It's one of our values, like to give back what you have, even if you don't have a lot of it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you're segueing straight into my next question.
Yeah.
Which is, can you tell the audience a little bit more about Socks and Such, and specifically the value that is like all over the website? It's all over everything you do.
Yeah.
Is to give back.
Yes.
Can you talk about where that came from and why it seems to be a cornerstone of your entire business model?
Yeah. Well, my dad raised me to you give back what you have. And it's like we weren't raised in a super wealthy, household. I'm 1 out of 4. So I'm the youngest out of 4. And it's like I just remember like constantly always like serving the community. And I feel like in the role I am now, it just kind of has naturally laid out itself, whether it be preschool teaching, helping my toddlers, helping my parents navigate this new life that's been brought upon them, and like helping my toddlers like get through the day, or whether it's like Flock Fitness, encouraging moms and women and like boosting them up to their full potential. And then it just kind of landed with Socks and Such. And it's like being able to have that mission to give back, because it's important. And I think this all comes together when we all come together. And a lot of times when I'm connecting with, I don't know, a 60-year-old man at the market, and he sees my girls there, and we're like a tablet-free family, and he sees them and they're making eye contact with them and they're chatting back and forth. I'm like, these are the values that I want to instill, and like learning how to connect with the community, because I firmly believe at the end of the day, we have a lot more in common than what we think.
Yeah.
And it's like that wholeheartedly means so much to me. Even if I have a market and I make no money, I'm like just being here and being able to connect, is very important. So, and the fundraising and CKC is just kind of aligned all together. I don't know why, it just has. I don't know, like it's organically like just working.
So we're like, how did you get here? And you're like, I don't even know.
I'm like, I just keep pushing forward and I don't take no for an answer. And I'm like, I remember the day I called Tiffany, she works for Maitland, and it was Labor Day weekend, and I emailed her several times. I'm like, listen, your vendors might be traveling this weekend. Do you have a spot? And this was Friday. And she's like, yeah, actually we do. The market's Sunday. I told my husband, Ryan, I said, go get a tent. We need to get weights. We need to get tables. We're going live. And then ever since then, we have not missed a Sunday.
That's awesome.
So it's like, just don't give
Just
up.
jump.
Yeah.
Yes, just jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're coming off a bit of a high because we did
Yes.
just go to the marathon weekend at
Yes.
Disney. I had so much fun. Like, I
Yes.
had a blast.
Mhm.
I was there for so much, and I got to hang out with the
Mhm.
flock, as
The
your
flock
fitness
was
group calls
there.
each other.
Yes.
So a group of you had signed up.
Yes.
And again, just very organically, like, hey, we like to do these things.
Yes.
So now we're doing this. But it was so fun. And it was so fun seeing different people in your group every day.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that was my perspective. I wondered about yours. Like,
Yes.
you know, it looked like y'all were having fun.
We had a blast. First of all, the majority of us are moms, so we don't get a lot of time away
Yeah.
from our family. So it's like I went up Friday night, and one of my roommates or one of my girls, she got us a room, and I remember going there and like just being able to like be with my friends and be
Yeah.
Hannah, like not the
Mhm.
wife, not the mom, not the teacher, like just to be Hannah with my girls. I'm like, this is exactly what
Yes.
this is fun for us. And it's like we
Mhm.
stayed up all night gabbing about, celebrity gossip or whatever. And it's like to be able to go to the expo and to have that energy, because it's being like a fitness junkie like we are, or being the ability to move is huge for me. And like the
Mhm.
ability that I can move my body for these endurance runs, and like seeing other runners there and seeing like their families there, and like
Yeah.
what gets me is like the age range too.
Yes.
And like that's when I get emotional, because I'm like, I see 75, 55, 60, like the older community coming out and like moving and like,
Mhm.
Yes.
like and like doing it and killing it. And I'm
Mhm.
like, that is what makes me wholeheartedly so happy to see that. And we're up at 2:30 in the morning.
Mhm.
I had one friend, Ashley, doing the dopey. So she had to do it back to back to back. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's
Mhm.
exhausting, but it's so fun.
Mhm.
And then 5:30 our corral. And then we stopped at every mile marker, took a photo, chatted about life, caught up on family and friends. And then we saw you guys at the finish line. And it was like, all right, this was a solid morning. Yeah, it's 9 a.m.
I know. That's
That's
what's
crazy
insane.
thing to
That's
me.
the funniest part of the whole thing. Is like,
All of this happens before most people
Yeah.
have their second cup of coffee.
Coffee. I'm like, it's 9 a.m. on a Saturday. Okay, what do we do now?
Yeah.
It's like, we had a great day. Oh, wait, it's 9
9
a.m.
Wait, no. Yeah,
Yeah, we had so much fun with it. Y'all were a blast. And then I will say that the group who came back on Sunday,
Yes, the
whether they were
marathon.
doing the marathon or like Ashley doing the dopey,
yes.
during the marathon, Val, they stopped and rode Tower of Terror
Yes.
and Everest.
I
Yes.
saw some photos on Instagram.
Then they send us photos
Yes.
along the way that they got on all these rides. Like, y'all were having a party the whole way through every day.
They were having a party.
Yes.
And I think that's the one of the things I love about that group. It's like whether you're the fastest or the slowest, it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
about coming together and like enjoying time together in a healthy way, right? We're not
Yeah.
at the bar, like,
Mhm.
we're at, I always say, I won't go to the club, but I'll go to a run club.
Yeah.
It's like being able to have that type of environment and like coming together with
Yeah.
commonalities is
Mhm.
really fulfilling too.
Yeah.
And then so you all got together and had fun together
Yeah.
while doing something good for a
Mhm.
charity
Mhm.
and for, your health and for your relationships and
Yeah.
everything. So talk a little bit about maybe just like what's it like to do something impactful with CKC with your girlfriends, and like
oh my gosh,
is
yeah.
like I feel like the level at which you get excited to give back, it like amplifies in a friend
Mhm.
group. So can
It
you talk about
does.
that a little bit?
It's like it catches fire.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like being able to come together and do something. We love running and anything to be able to help a community too. So it's like having those two things together and doing it with like your good friends and like following up with them on it, or like making sure like they're hitting their goals. It's like brings your friendship even closer together,
Mhm.
right? Because it's like now you guys have that forever and no
Mhm.
one can take that away. Like no matter what happens, you always have that moment or that year that you did that. And I think that's what makes us come back year after year.
Mhm.
We've always ran together. We've done races, like, but being able to have this foundation and like give back to it and letting it be right here in like our hometown, like
Mhm.
that's way cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's like that, it brings you all those feelings of joy and happiness. And it's like, that's what we need right now.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Mhm.
It's good stuff. Everybody should do it.
Everyone should do good things.
Yeah, they should. Like, they're like, you ran that far. First of all, I was never a runner. In high school, I used to like have my mom or dad come pick me up because I didn't want to ever do the mile.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not doing this. This is so lame. Like, no. But like the moment I had my oldest, a year later, I found Flock Fitness, and it just was like, I'm all movement, and I'm not the fastest, I'm not the slowest, but like I'm right in the middle, but I'm right where I need to be. And it's like, it's not about losing weight or counting carbs or calories, it's like, it's about coming together and doing things in a healthy manner and like mentally being set up for success, physically being set up for success. And then now we can layer in also giving back to this beautiful foundation. And I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I think it's such a good example to set for other women too, which is take care of yourself first.
100%.
Put your mask on first,
Yeah.
and then you can put the mask on the charity that's serving kids.
100%, yeah. And to boost other women up, right? Like, I love competition, don't get me wrong, but also like, I applaud, I bow down to all the members we have, like just to be able to show up and like, because you never know what anybody's going through also in their personal life. And moms carry a lot. They do. They carry a lot on their shoulders. So
Absolutely.
it's very rewarding.
Yeah. Good.
Well, you've been, now as we've covered, a successful fundraiser.
Yes.
You are a business owner, your mom. And I want to talk a little bit about another label. I would throw labels at you. I want to give you another label that I think might have surprised you when we chatted about it, but I think of you as an advocate too.
Yes. And
I don't know how shocked you were, but I was like, I don't know if she believed me yet.
I didn't.
So when
Where are we at today?
Yeah.
When I talk about advocacy, I think what a lot of people think is like an advocate is someone who, if you're practicing advocacy, that you are like headed to the state government, the federal government. You are reading a statement or you're doing something in front of congressional members or something like that. But I think we have this idea of what advocacy looks like. But I think when we speak of advocacy, we're talking about anybody who's sharing their own personal story that's helps others, but also when you're not directly connected. So you don't have to be connected and have a personal story 100%. To be an advocate and to share what we call educating for change.
Yes.
And the big advocacy moment that I thought you stepped into, which was like, we had a ripple effect luncheon.
I loved it. Amazing.
You came to the luncheon, and we're tired after an event usually, but I'm not too tired to scroll. And I'm looking through, social media, and you got on your Instagram account and you shared all the things that you learned about pediatric cancer at that luncheon. And I was like, oh, we had an advocate in the audience. And so that's really what we mean when we're talking about like somebody who's an advocate who can, just educate for change, advocate for on behalf of other people. So I guess talk a little bit about being at the ripple effect and then the decision to then, start talking publicly about this.
Yeah. Well, the ripple effect was beautiful. First, the Winter Park Library was gorgeous. And the speaker we had, amazing. The food was great. The vibes were great. I know that Flock Fitness has bought in a table, the girlfriend's table, right? There a couple of times. And I never went. I was like, I don't know. A couple of my friends are very close to CKC, and I still never went. I just wasn't ready. And then I said, Jen Yulin reached out to me, and she's like, hey, we got a couple more tickets. Do you want to go? I was like, I'm going to go. I'm going to pay the money. I'm going to go. I think it's important. And I went, and just hearing you, I'm a firm believer that you don't know until you know. And like hearing what you guys were saying about the laws that are being passed or the money that's being stripped away or about the research that's going on, I was like, oh no, why? And I was like, all right, take a couple of notes. And like going home, it was the same day, it was like an hour later. I was like, all right, how can I condense this into a video? Because reels, they have to be like 10 seconds long or somebody's scrolling to the next one. And I was like, just hit the markers. And I think it's just so important to voice what is actually going on. You know, in the society we lived in today, everything is so bogged down and you have so many moving parts that you don't know what's clear, but like facts are facts. And I'm a big, I love facts. Like this is actually what's happening, whatever side you're on the aisle, but like this is a fact. And like hearing those numbers, I was like, this is not okay. And that's when I was like, I want to say what I've learned about your beautiful luncheon, and like hopefully like somebody else will pick that up, because I personally have no connection to pediatric cancer. And a lot of times people ask, well, like, why CKC? And I when we sat down and had coffee almost a year ago now, and like you educated me on like, what is CKC? What does this look like? What are we giving pediatric cancer patients? And what you guys are doing to research and find the change. I'll never forget, you said, if you want to fundraise or if you want to give money to a company or a fundraiser that provides iPads or laptops to the kids who are going through cancer, that's great. But that's not CKC. We want to find research, science to how we can better these patients' lives. And I was like, yeah, I want to drink that Kool-Aid. And then I was like, I need that. And it's like, I never want to be, I always just want, it just feels right. It just feels right. And it's like, how can you not say something?
Yeah.
And people don't know until they know. And it's like, I don't have the hugest platform on social media, but I'm in the community. I'm talking to people that I typically wouldn't talk to in everyday life, and like just breaking down those barriers and say, well, this is what's actually going on, you know, because people have just, they're so tunneled into their own life, which is fine. But like also like, hey, we can also help here too.
Yeah, I think it's great. And also I think, you know, the thing about our mission for me is nobody's disagreeing with the mission.
Yeah.
But not understanding why we're here is a different thing, right? Everyone can agree that these kids should not go through that.
Correct.
So then we have to break down, what does not go through that?
Yes.
What does that mean for them? How do we fix that problem? And that's the part I think that is so shocking that you're identifying with, of like, right, but if a child gets sick, then they go to the hospital, they get fixed, we're done. And realizing how far from true that is in a cancer space is really difficult. I really commend you as a person to be like, and now I'm going to jump all in.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like really interesting and really just, it's really great.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It just kind of just happened naturally. I felt like I was supposed to be there. And I can't wait for this year's one.
Yeah. So we're going to do the luncheon again. We'll do the marathon again. We'll sign up, you know, as long as they give us whatever spaces they give us. And I think that, you know, we love the idea that people find their fit with us. And that's so true for the flock and for you of what's happened here.
It has a lot to do with you guys too. Like, you know that. Like, it has a lot to do with you and like being able to have these fluid conversations. And like, because I mean, cancer is very scary. And like when you talk about kids, it's like it feels very adult, you know, like very scary spaces. And I'm like, well, I have like a couple $100 to donate. And you're like, whatever you can. And it's like just to be able to help in that realm and not feel like, oh, that's all you're giving. Like, and that's where I was like, this is a safe space because of you ladies. And it's like, I want to be able to authentically feel good about it if I didn't feel good with this. And that's where I'm like, I think this is just a fit.
Yeah. We love that. And we like, it's the ego of it all, right?
Yeah.
Like not one doctor is going to discover a cure. Not one institution, not one foundation is going to fund it. So, you know, therefore we all have to understand we have to do this together.
Yes.
And so
100%.
that's, I mean, where you've said several times, like, I'm going to give what I can. And to have a conversation about pediatric cancer, one, not get scared off by how scary it is.
Yes.
Two, to think, okay, I can do something. And then three, to do it, you know, is such a cool story. One of the reasons why we wanted to bring you on and talk with you about it. And I think the thing that I'm learning just hearing the whole conversation together is the through line of passion.
Yeah.
So like when you're passionate about something and you're talking to people,
it's natural.
They get passionate too.
Yeah.
And then they want to help. And so that very much is you.
Yeah.
That's why you're an advocate.
Okay, fine.
I think it's so good. And like, I also think, that experience that you had at Ripple or that experience that you have as the flock is, goes back to that idea of it is scary to hear this alone, but together feels possible, or at least it feels like I don't have to duck out.
Yeah.
And I think that collective impact is really important to us. And so I think that's what I see when I see all the people at the finish line of that race. But that's what I see when I see a group like yours come together, or even you creating Socks and Such and bringing more circles of community together, is like, we don't have to solve something on our own. We need to figure out what we bring to the table and then collectively make an impact. And that's been huge. It's been really fun.
It has been really fun. Yeah. It's like, why? I don't ask why. Ask why not. Let's go.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, I think, if we were ending on something, positive, or just, where you wanted to go, of the people that are listening but sitting there going, okay, but, okay, but, and they still have, that I want to do it. But what do you think is a great first step to take to get involved somewhere? I mean, at CKC or anywhere.
Call Dana. Call Dana. She has all the right things to say. No, but I think going in it with a friend. Yeah. I think going in it with your gal, going in it with your spouse, going in it with a partner is less scary, because you have somebody to vibe with and bounce it off. And also something that's meaningful to you, so you can organically talk about it. I never want to feel like I'm, like I said, bothering or trying to do a sales pitch or anything. But it's like, when you're passionate, it just comes out and it just spreads like a wildfire. So I think like having a friend to go into it with, and also something that you full-heartedly, authentically want to get behind and you believe in it.
Yeah.
And it's not, we don't have to make it too complicated.
Yes.
Like, simple, guys. Life is so bogged down. It's so busy. Like, simple.
Yeah.
And like, that's just what we've done. And it's worked.
Yes. Well, this has been so fun.
Yeah. I do want to ask one more question. If somebody would like to get any of the wonderful
socks or the such.
Yes.
If you would like socks and or such.
Yes.
How would they get any of your products?
My Instagram account, Socks and Such 25. And then I also have a website, socksandsuch.net. And then we can put that out there too when we share this. So all my stuff is there, and it's great. And you can find a lot of fun things there.
Perfect. Awesome. That is awesome. We are so glad you're here. We're so glad you're part of Team CKC now. So thank you. We at CKC invest in treatments and in research options that make life easier for our kids and families that are going through the unimaginable. If you want to support the research that our mission brings to the table, you can go to cannonballkidscancer.org.
That's right. And we would love to thank you for listening to Game Over Cancer. We would love for you to also leave a review, because that helps us reach more listeners. So help us educate for change. Add that review. Share this podcast.
Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate that you're joining us and making a commitment to be part of our fight. I'm Dana Nichols.
I'm Val Solomon.
And until next time, we will CKC.
See you later. Join us as we transform fear into courage and turn adversity into opportunities for change.
If you want to be involved in the conversations that create change in the world of pediatric cancer, take a moment, share, like, and subscribe. Absolutely. Screw you, cancer. Get the heck out of here.